The year is 1986. The place is the Rotten Apple, the South Bronx to be exact. Long an epicenter of violent crime, it had at that time become an epicenter of the new drug, crack cocaine.
Everybody was smoking crack, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like that. You know what I'm saying? They had no respect, they didn't care of who you was or not. That crack destroyed many people's lives. You know what I'm saying? It affected so many people.
And due to all the money coming in, the NYPD is as dirty as it's ever been. And that's saying something.
Dowd talked about how he made as much as $8,000 a week by protecting and sometimes shaking down drug dealers. How he often showed up to work at the 75th Precinct in Brooklyn in a drunken stupor. And how he snorted cocaine while in his patrol car.
It all began on a dark November night, the 19th, when a team of police officers assembled outside a Bronx tenement. They believed Larry Davis was harbored in the apartment of another sister, and they wanted him for questioning in the slaying of 4 reputed drug dealers in late October.
Larry Davis was 20 years old and wanted for questioning in the robbery and murder of 4 dope dealers. But Larry Davis, who was cornered in a relative's apartment in the Bronx, had no intention of going in quietly.
He wasn't afraid. He just started shooting.
I stick my head out and I could see the cops there, and they began firing, trying to hit me in the head. And they had machine guns too. They were spraying the whole wall, looked like Swiss cheese from the holes. They were just shooting randomly.
I just kept firing to keep him away from me, and I imagine that's what everybody else was doing, just to keep him back. He was a lot of gunfire.
So then I grabbed the bedroll off the back of my sister's closet, which is right there in the hallway. And I said, I'm gonna use this as a decoy to make them think I'm running out there. So I threw it, and they began chasing it, shooting it, the bedroll. And when they did that, I came out and I fired, and I had hit one point-blank blast in the face, and I caught the other one on the floor because I already knew where they were.
The 21-year-old Davis is charged with 9 counts of first-degree attempted murder, all stemming from a wild shootout with police 2 years ago. 6 cops were injured. Davis escaped, but was captured 17 days later. It has become a racial tug-of-war, with accused cop shooter Larry Davis stuck in the middle. In the 12th day of jury selection, the prosecution has charged Davis's attorney William Kunstler with racism for purposely excluding whites from the prospective jury panel.
Davis ended up shooting 6 NYPD, but in the first of 4 different trials he faced that all carried potential life sentences.
A black man who shot at policemen. Now you would think that would be an open and shut case, lost before it ever began. How did you start to think about the technique for the success you had in that case?
Well, we knew from the beginning that the district attorney never wanted to try that case because he had Larry tried on the murders of 4 drug dealers first, thinking they would get quick convictions and they could drop the police case because there were so many weaknesses in it.
When we have to, in a sense, tiptoe because we don't want to hurt someone else and he doesn't care about who he hurts, then we're at a distinct disadvantage.
And for example, the police had threatened Larry's mother just a month before this famous shootout of November 19th, 1986 in the Bronx at his sister's home. They had threatened her. She had reported it. She had the good sense to report it, and there was a file made in the Civilian Complaint Review Board of the police department, and it had been investigated, and she had been vindicated. So we knew there'd been a threat to kill him. We knew from many of the facts that there were conflicts in the police officer's story as to what happened. We wondered why 24 white officers were sent to get him when all they wanted to do was question him.
It is a racist concept to exclude a person simply because of the color of their skin. That is racist and must be condemned.
So far, 6 jurors have been sworn in, and 5 of those are black. And defense attorneys have already challenged 8 white prospective jurors, dismissing them without any reason.
He was actually found not guilty by reason of self-defense. This obviously came as quite a shock to most observers, and his various trials became symbolic to different people for different reasons. For some, I guess, white New Yorkers and other outsiders, it symbolized kind of like a Charles Bronson death wish vision of America's urban center. A guy like Larry Davis, a young black male, could literally shoot police, be caught, go on trial, and get acquitted, which is exactly what happened.
Myself and several other youth who was involved with a drug ring that involved police. This is why I am here today, rather.
Then Davis actually went on trial. He was still in custody. He went on trial for the original thing he was wanted for, the killing of the 4 drug dealers. He got acquitted on all counts for that. So at this point, the only thing Larry Davis, the only criminal charge he's convicted of are weapons charges for what went on with the police, and he takes a plea to, I think, about a 5 to 15. And at some point in this period, he gets assaulted on Rikers Island, or if you believe the police, he assaults the police. Either way, he's in some type of fight with the police. He gets pretty seriously hurt, and for a while, he's paralyzed or pretending to be paralyzed.
And so I see that you're in a wheelchair. How did you get in that wheelchair?
Well, it was from a savage beating by sadistic correction guards here at Rikers Island, where I was attacked in HDM and brutally attacked here and attacked here in NIC, and which resulted in me being in this wheelchair. They paralyzed me from the waist down to my spine.
The original reason the police were after Davis was supposedly to question him about the killing of 4 drug dealers in the Bronx and northern Manhattan. And the defense Davis successfully used in his original trial was that he'd been selling drugs for a group of NYPD detectives who would give him the dope they stole from other dealers for him to sell.
I was using drugs heavily.
On the job?
Yes.
In uniform?
Yes.
While you were on duty, you're saying?
Yes.
What kind of drugs are you talking about?
Cocaine and alcohol.
Were you trying to conceal your use of drugs and alcohol on the job?
In the beginning, I did.
What about later on?
Well, I used to do it off the dashboard.
And when he wanted out, they came to assassinate him. The jury believed him enough to acquit him.
Dowd talked about how he made as much as $8,000 a week by protecting and sometimes shaking down drug dealers, how he often showed up to work at the 75th Precinct in Brooklyn in a drunken stupor, and how he snorted cocaine while in his patrol car.
So he beat the 4 murders he was originally to be questioned for, and he's paralyzed, he's in custody, he's serving his 5 to 15, and then he goes on trial for a 5th murder. He beats that. And then he goes on trial in, I think, 91 for finally a 6th murder that happened back in that happened back in 87 maybe, or late 86. Or no, it must have been in 86 because he was in custody all that time. And he finally gets convicted, and he gets 25 to life.